Good morning, everyone. At 10 o'clock, so I will call the York County Board of Commissioners meeting to order for December 17th, 2025, what we expect to be our last meeting for this year. Welcome again, our friend, veteran David Copenhaver, to lead us in the pledge. And I don't see Mr. Kleindens for the invocation, so
We can have a moment of silence.
we'll have a moment of reflection.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So as we take a moment of reflection today, let's remember and reflect on the 4 law enforcement officers that were killed in our community this year. Let's remember their families and their friends as they enter this holiday season without their loved ones. So if I could just ask for a moment of reflection. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2 on the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the December 3rd, 2025 Board of Commissioners meeting as submitted.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. We'll turn it over to Mr. Dahl for his report.
All right, good morning. I'd like to talk a little bit about item number 14 on the agenda under new business, as it would set the county real estate tax rate for the 2026 budget year. This motion reflects a revised budget and a lower real estate tax rate than had been originally presented as part of the preliminary budget at the November 19th Board of Commissioners meeting. So the new 7.55 mil tax rate would equate to about $7.55 per $1,000 of assessed property value. For comparison, this new millage rate would be about 0.65 mil increase in the county real estate tax over the current 2025 millage rate of 6.9 mils. This represents a 9.4% increase over the current 2025 millage rate. You know, it's important to note this is the first tax increase for York County in 4 years, after 3 straight years with no tax increases on our budgets. With the new 7.55 millage rate, the York County budget for 2026 is $751.3 million, representing roughly an 8% increase over the 2025 budget of nearly $696.3 million. Excuse me. The general fund budget, which is our operating budget for the county, accounts for approximately $283.7 million of the overall budget. This also represents an increase over the 2025 general fund budget of $262.6 million. This new budget reflects ongoing efforts by the county to cut expenses in the face of rising costs, in addition to, the flat rate state funding for the mandated programs that we have to administer.
Any
Thank
other
you.
motions to talk about?
Nothing else.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Dahl. I'll just add a few comments on to what Mr. Dahl said regarding motion number 14. So in your county, we are committed to the philosophy of continuous improvement, and certainly our budget process is part of that. We did announce our preliminary budget on November 19th, and that was made available to the public, but we didn't stop working. We didn't put our pencils down. I do want to give a lot of credit to our chief financial officer, our chief clerk, and all of our staff who really looked for ways that they could cut expenses in their departments, because we couldn't do it without them. So as Mr. Dahl alluded to, through the hard work, we've been able to reduce the tax increase by about 1/3 of what we originally projected. So that equates to about $9 million and change in cost savings that we were able to shave from the budget. But unfortunately, that's not enough to make up for the structural deficit that exists as a result of inadequate and chronically delayed state funding. We've been very transparent from the start. We've been talking about this for months now, that a tax increase was likely necessary due to the range of factors beyond the county's control. The 5-month budget delay was one of the only latest factors contributing to that. But the truth is that state funding for the mandated programs has been inadequate for many years while inflationary costs have skyrocketed. And York is not unique. Like many other counties across the Commonwealth, they've had to raise taxes at the local level. So counties all face the same challenges that we're facing here in York County. No one wants to raise taxes, but the state has shifted the burden to local taxpayers, forcing us to make these difficult choices. It could have been worse. Again, I want to commend our staff for the hard work that they've done to save and cut costs, allowing us to reduce the overall tax increase while ensuring we are properly funding county services. We take seriously our responsibility to be good fiscal stewards of taxpayer dollars, and we believe this budget, while challenging, strikes the balance of protecting taxpayers and preserving our essential programs. So I don't know if Commissioner Burford or Commissioner Hope want to share a few comments?
No, I think that was well said. You know, it's never easy to, vote for a tax increase, and I know everybody's talking about affordability and costs going up and stuff like that, but we have to be fiscally responsible here in York County government and pay our bills. And I think our group has done a diligent job in going through the line-by-line budget and making the reductions that are necessary, and I applaud them for doing that.
Yeah. Like my fellow commissioners, I also want to commend our chief clerk, Mr. Dahl, our chief financial officer, Tyler Chronister, for their hard work drilling down to find more savings and also better efficiencies for county government. We have attempted and will continue to do more with less. That is the mantra, and we strive to do that, to keep our tax base low. With all of that hard work, though, that's not to suggest that I'm happy with the tax increase. Nobody is. Nobody wants to raise taxes. But it's the responsible thing to do at this environment, at this phase in our revenue and expense cycle. This budget is founded on 3 primary cost drivers. And those cost drivers are the cost of goods and services that the county needs to purchase. And the cost of goods and services, just like each of us individually, are continuing to increase. Even with the economies of scale that we are able to leverage at the county level, we still have cost increases. On top of that, the second cost driver is the state impasse, the budget impasse. That did us no favors either. That was a 5-month budget impasse that we had to live through. Every county had to deal with it. It cost York County about $8 million a month for every month that lapsed while the state was trying to figure out their budget issues. And the other cost driver that we had to deal with, as has been mentioned numerous times, is the insignificant funding, reimbursement funding from the state. It's not keeping pace. There are many of our human service agencies that have not seen a meaningful rate increase in over 15 years. And let me remind everybody, we've had a pandemic since then. Life is different, and we haven't seen a meaningful change in that in 15 years. So we have to, as county commissioners, we have to fill that gap somehow. And unfortunately, the time has come. It's been 4 years since we've seen a tax increase. And again, I go back to no one wants to raise taxes at all, and including myself. And, we do focus a lot of attention on the expense side of the budget. But I also want to note on the revenue side. I am one of many county commissioners who have argued for a very long time, have advocated for a very long time, to give counties more options than real estate tax. We need more levers at the local level to generate revenue than on the backs of our homeowners and property owners. So that is not something this board can do. But I've got to tell you, our legislators have got to figure this out and give us some latitude, some options, and let us pick and choose at the local level what we can do to generate revenue other than real estate tax. But again, this, in many respects, I believe the Commonwealth should develop a strategic plan like we have here in York County. We have a very, very effective strategic plan. And I think the state could perhaps model some options with that idea. So anyway, I could go on for a while. I just, I am disappointed, just like my colleagues, that we have to raise taxes. But it is a responsible budget that we have before us today, unfortunately. So that's all I have.
Okay. So I will open it up for any public comment as it relates to items on the agenda. So if you just go to the mic, state your name and municipality, and leave your comments, please, to 3 minutes or less. Our solicitor will watch the clock for you.
Hello, my name's Tom Pokopek. I'm from Manchester Township. I've been a property taxpayer in this county since 1984. And I've been following this story with as little information that was publicly available. I'm a little disappointed that we have to hire somebody from outside to get information from the commissioners. I wish that would be opened up more. Anyway. So we went from 14 to 9% tax increase in a couple of weeks. Is that basically what I'm hearing? So we reduced the rate of increase by about a third, but we're still up 9%. You mentioned a 5-month shortfall from the state. What did that actually cost the county? Because you got your money back. You mentioned $8 million a month, but didn't you get the funding eventually? I'm a little confused on that.
So this is time for public comment. It's not time for Q&A. So
Oh, I can't ask any questions.
You're
Okay.
certainly welcome to say and ask us any questions you like, but this is time for public
Okay,
comment.
well, if I could ask a question, that's what I'd ask. If we got the money back and we're gonna have it next year, why do we have to raise taxes to support that? Manchester Township, West Manchester Township, Spring-Sperry Township, many other townships did not have a tax increase this year. We have one, I understand, hasn't been for a little while, and I wish we could work with the money we have and not have to raise taxes. Well, when we get the thing straightened out with the state, hopefully we can get a tax reduction when you get your money back. But I know that never happens, so I'm just hopeful. And I'm hopeful that we don't have to go through this again every year, and that we can go for like maybe 5 years without a tax increase. So that's it. Well, thank you for your time, and I'll listen to the rest. Thank you.
Morning.
Morning.
I'm Amy Milson of Manchester Township. I'm also the president of Central York School District Board of Directors, and being on the board of a very large school district, it's very similar. It's sort of like a small version of a county. Our budget is nearly $119 million, so it is a large budget. And I think what I've found, this is my 5th year on the board, is that tax increases are always better received in small doses. So I think I certainly understand the position of the commissioners and the county that tax increases are necessary. Costs continue to go up. We have all sorts of inflationary pressures. We have just cost of living pressures. We have to buy things, and they cost more for everyone. Of course, we can't ignore the fact that all of our residents in our county and all other counties are facing increased costs on everything by a lot, and that it's become more and more difficult just to survive in today's environment financially. So I think that as a county, that should be considered when you are deciding for years at a time not to raise taxes at all, and then all of a sudden throw in almost a 14% now and 9%. That's still a huge chunk of change, and very hard to take in this economic environment that we're in. So the way Central York has looked at things is, let's look at future, as best as we can, look forward, look at the future budgets as things go forward, and budget for that by doing small, more manageable, more palatable increases over a longer period of time rather than all at once. I think it's just better for our residents and our constituents to accept like a 2% increase every year rather than a 9 or 10% at once. So that's just my thought that I wanted to share. Thank you very much for what you do. I certainly understand it's difficult to make these decisions, and tax increases are never well received, even if they are small. I think it's always best to be responsible and try to make the pain a little bit less as each year goes by. Thank you.
Any other public comment? I will just address Mr. Pokopek's one question. So we have been very transparent at our commissioners meeting regarding the budget impasse, in that while we did get reimbursed, York County was one of the counties who decided to not shut down our social services programs. Other counties across the Commonwealth laid off employees and shut down programs. We didn't. But because of that, we did use money from our reserves, and we lost about $1 million in interest, which we won't get back from the state. But that was a choice that the three of us made. We felt it important to keep those programs open because they do serve some of the most vulnerable people in our community. And I won't speak for the other two, but I think I probably can. We certainly do not want to come back and have a tax increase next year. So your point is well taken, and that's been what we've been mindful of. So thank you for your comments. And thank you, Amy, too. So with that, if there's no other public comment, we'll move on to new business.
Madam President, I would like to move to amend item 4 on this morning's agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Oh, I want to move to amend item 4 by adding the York County opioid grant program as a recipient, thereby approving 14 organizations and increasing the total award to $3,311,010.25 over the 3-year period. So I would ask for a second.
I'll second that motion.
So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of amending the motion as presented signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion has been amended.
Okay, thank you. I now move to add the amended motion to this morning's agenda.
I'll second that motion.
So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adding the amended motion to the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's been added.
Okay. So now I would like to make a third motion, if I may. And I move to adopt and approve items number 1 through 42, which includes that amended motion on this morning's agenda as presented.
I'll second the motion, but I'd just like to, for the record, say that I will be abstaining on motion 33, which names me as a somebody put on a new board.
I have a motion and a second. I did actually want to make a comment. We'll hear more about this at our January meeting, but our colleagues from the Planning Commission are here, so I do want to give them some recognition on the hard work that they do to administer the Open Land Space Preservation Program and the Marcellus Shale Legacy Funding. So we will be voting for those allocations in motion 29. Again, we will hear more from them in detail at our January meeting, but since they are here and they work very, very hard to run this program, I just want to thank them for their hard efforts, and in all likelihood we will be approving this today, and we'll hear from them in January. So with that, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. There were no executive sessions since our last meeting. I will open it up for any other business. Any other public comment? Hearing and seeing none, just to
Wait a minute.
remind
Wait.
everyone. Oh.
Merry Christmas, and let's not forget Hanukkah, as well as Happy New Year to all you folks. I am Thomas Hudson Paulp of the City of York. Would like to say a few remarks, though I have a habit of being long-winded. First of all, of those last 15 years that Commissioner Burford mentioned, 8 of those years, Governor Tom Wolf and John Fetterman, Lieutenant Governor, who's now unfortunately a U.S. Senator, occupied the governor's mansion in Harrisburg for the state. And both men are from York County. And the crowning achievement that they can say for their term as governor and lieutenant governor is the gender chaos we have in this country at taxpayer expense. We also have censorship, because Tom Wolf will never speak to anyone who doesn't agree with him, if he does at all, because he's a deaf mute. He's also encouraged the lunacy of what went on in Corona, with the drug addiction and alcoholism that exploded under that time, where people committed suicide from depression. York County has a reason to be optimistic, thanks to Julie Wheeler, Scott Burford, and Douglas Hoke. As of last week, there's only one Republican mayor for any major city in America in Dallas, Texas. His name is Eric Johnson. When you govern as a conservative like Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, and Eric Johnson of Dallas, Texas, you find out you usually have lots of energetic economic activity, lots of people move to where you live, and they're ecstatic about it. Also, to the folks that don't think Donald Trump is an American hero, I'm on fixed income. And for 4 years, we have taken a kick to the testicles with Joe Biden having a 9% inflation rate and someone like me getting a 2% living increase every year. I've known my share of rough times. There's been plenty of days where I fasted because I didn't have any money for food. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
I just want to thank the fact that I live in York County, because as miserable as things have been throughout the country, and York County has its share of problems. Just wait until June and next year at this time, when all the people from the state of New York and New Jersey move here because of the lunacy of what's going to occur in New York City, as well as the electric rates and the taxation of the state of New Jersey. You're going to find a lot of new people moving here, most of whom are great people, but there's going to be a lot of them that you really would not want to move here, but will soon be here at that time. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay. There were no executive sessions since our last meeting. Again, any other business to bring up? Just to remind folks, this is our last meeting for this year. We will not be meeting in 2 weeks. I will open up for any other more public comment. There's none. If I can have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned, and we will move on to salary board.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the December 3rd, 2025 salary board meeting as submitted.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll open it for any public comment as it relates to items on the agenda. Hearing and seeing none, we can move on to item number 4.
I make a motion to approve the positions, salaries, hours of work, and fringe benefits as provided by existing collective bargaining agreements or as set forth in the York County Employee Handbook or York County Policy Manual for the following departments and row offices as listed below, with no additional benefits or concessions unless otherwise noted, and there is listed in the agenda.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There were no executive sessions since our last meeting. I open up once again for any public comment. Hearing and seeing none, if I could have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned, and we'll move on to retirement board.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 19th, 2025 Retirement Board meeting as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I'll open up for any public comment as it relates to items on the agenda. Hearing and seeing none, if we can move on to new business.
I make a motion to include the following vested individuals on the monthly annuity payment list, and they are as listed below.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
I make a motion to include the following individuals on the monthly annuity payment list as listed below.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries.
I make a motion to retain the annual interest rate of 4% on individual employee contributions for the year of 2026.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
The written agenda should be amended because the written agenda contains date 2025, so there should be at least a motion to correct that typographical
Is
error.
that a de minimis error?
De minimis error, but I just want to make sure that the written record reflects 2026.
So do we need
What?
do we need to amend the motion or not?
No,
No.
just so
Okay.
it's
Just the
clear
record.
that there was a typo on motion number 3 that had 2025 and not 2026. As it's noted here, it says 2026. So we will make sure the record shows it's 2026.
I make a motion to approve the following buyback of non-intervening military service for prison employee Perry Fisher, January 6, 1994 to January 5, 1995, for a total service time of 1 year, 0 months and days. Total county portion, $5,765.11. Total member portion, $5,765.11. Total purchase amount, $11,530.22.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. There were no executive sessions since our last meeting. Open up for any public comment. Hearing and seeing none, just for those who are joining us today who may be new to this, I do want to thank Treasurer Bear and Controller Bauer. So Salary Board, Controller Bauer sits on that board with the commissioners, and then our Retirement Board, Treasurer Bear sits on that. So just thank them for their serving in that capacity. So if nothing else, if I could have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned. Happy holidays, however you enjoy the holidays. So we'll see you in January. Barb, I'd like to hear your- Thanks.